So, an excellent point. And you know, a bigger issue here is that, well, one very local issue that has relevance to energy technology is I'm applying to have NRGY 101 and perhaps NRGY 102 become science electives, and I'm really trying to build a lot of the science into these survey courses so that, you know, we're not just, oh, you know, let's just go put some solar panels up, et cetera. We want to motivate it by something. And the point Tim was making just then is that, you know, if the model does not match reality, then it is wrong. if what you're measuring does not match what your model has predicted, it's wrong. And so no one has yet disproven Newton's laws of gravity. So insofar as they keep proving themselves correct, they're right. And you mentioned the buoys. I had a conversation, and I heard this on NPR. So there were, I don't know, several thousand buoys deployed in the ocean, and from that data set, there was a discrepancy with a lot of the models. And what I heard, and I've had a couple of conversations with Steve Running, who has, you know, colleagues that are tracking this. There were a lot of mismatches between the boats. So you'd have an onboard boat with its own temperature gauge, and then just, you know, a few meters away, like literally just right down the water, you'd have another gauge, and they weren't matching each other. And it appeared as if when all of these buoys were deployed, they just weren't calibrated for whatever conditions they were. You know, the salinity was weird, the pH was weird, or there was some radiation coming in that was affecting it, and not actually getting a truly local temperature. So there's an opportunity where the technology can inform the science, right? And if the technologist that made the temperature sensors screwed up and didn't calibrate it can affect you know, scientific opinion. So, you know, it's an excellent point. And plus, I was just reading some Richard Feynman this morning, and one of his most famous quotes was what I just said: is if the model does not match experiment, then it's wrong. Or if the theory does not match, then it's wrong. Kind of obvious, but not dissimilar to the other conversation we were having in 101, where we don't need no bickering about arithmetic. it's grammar, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't very good grammar. Okay. Let's look at the rest of the chapter, and then we'll go take down the turbine here. Is a half hour enough to take? And I'm not that worried about covering the rest of chapter 3. In fact, maybe I won't even. Maybe we'll just kind of breeze through it and dig in a little more detail next week. But yeah, let's just treat these next 5 minutes as sort of a preview for the rest of the chapter. This is kind of the second half. So we're going to cover the technology, if you will. I mean, right there, we're looking at current and voltage. There's your ETEC 105. So we'll be able to measure that in individual solar panels. There's two specific numbers that are of significant importance. This is what the curve looks like. On that solar car that's sitting out there rusting in the bullpen, I think we took it off, but there's a thing called a maximum power point tracker that tries to stay right on the knee of that curve, so that when you multiply your volts times your amps, you get as much power as possible. And we'll cover this in more detail. Examples of PV technology being deployed. We're going to have a little solar ATM at the new Missoula College. Obviously, pretty hard to grid tie this bad boy, or this one. Yeah. Tim's been out in the ocean and serving these guys. Are these mainly just powering radio beacons? Is that kind of what they're doing, or what else? What other gadgets?
Mostly just the lights.
Lights. Okay. Oh, keeping the lights on for sure. Okay. Shipping
But
channels.
some do have, they call them raycons.
Okay.
When the radar He gets pinged by a radar, it sends out a broadcast signal
Mm-hmm.
that has the information on that buoy, tells you location, where you're at.
Yeah, okay. So the lights there, like, don't hit me, stay inside the channel, but the Raycon is gonna give you more precise pinpoint
Yes.
data. Nice, yeah. Other examples of some solar tech. So we've covered the science, and now we're just gonna kind of get into some of the technology. I don't know how you think about this, but that looks gorgeous to me. You know, a lot of people don't like the look of solar panel. We're talking about the aesthetics of some of these new houses, but
It would look good on one of those cube houses.
I think it would. Yeah, the square theme fits right in with the cube house. And they've also got a little passive solar there, as you can see. And I'll guarantee you, this thing is cranking out way more juice, you know, unless they got an electric jacuzzi in there and 10 plasma screens. That bad boy's making a lot more house than probably mom and pop are.
They're willing to block that passive, though, they're using it all in AC to cool the place back down.
Right, well, yeah. Well, and that's another good point, and those are two sides of the coin. One is energy efficiency, and as Tim was saying, if this thing's just getting hot, then you run your PV to run the AC to keep the thing cold, kind of not the best use. Here's the potential, and we've looked at this to some degree as well. This is kilowatt hours per square meter per year. Pretty impressive installation. Another one, that's looking pretty Star Trek, a little more aesthetic, a little more modern. School, these guys have really maximized the amount of solar on their roofs. Looks like they might even have a little bit of cooling, maybe a little good convection going on. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but we did a convection experiment on our solar trailer, and we're able to put in 2 watts and get back 4 just by removing some of the heat from the panels.
Probably have those little micro inverters on that, though, because I'm looking at those trees in the foreground going, okay, they got shading.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good point, depending on how, and you can even see these guys are getting shaded, so having micro inverters is critical in an application like this. Gigantic solar farm, and these are probably static, they're probably not tracking. We talked a little bit about tracking and the piston cylinder devices that are on our own PV. Roadways. I would love to see this happen to the Bitterroot branch. Lots of real estate, PV it out, stick your electric train on, all your Bitterroot Valley commuters can ride the nice little solar train back and forth because you got, PV and, put them flat, and then your bicyclists can get out of the rain too. Yeah. Combined solar and wind, obviously you would not want your solar panel in the shadow of your wind turbine. We talked a little bit about the Kardashev limit, and we also talked a little bit about the photosynthetic ceiling. Here it is, PV in space. A little bit of the cost, we've seen the costs come way down, and that's why we're really seeing an uptick in the amount of solar that's coming online. More of it as well. Talked about, and here's where the big thing is, the cost of the modules themselves has really come down. The labor and all that hasn't changed much, or won't change much either. There's some prediction, this would be fun. What year was this guy published? Because I think this is actually predictive. We could go out and check and see. Yeah. So this is also predictive. We could compare that with reality now as part of the course. Yeah. So again, it's got just looking at different scenarios for solar in the future. Could be some big opportunities in residential. Solar airplane. High tech. Okay. Well, let's go and drop our own turbine, get ready for our own Solar Energy Fest and
Remember that last figure up there, Sean?
wrap it up.
You can explain that in our write-up for our project Saturday.
Wait, what?
1,000 meter, or 1,000
Oh.
watts per meter squared.
$1,000
So we're gonna figure out our dimensions on it and we'll see what size.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think we found a piece of 36 by 60, single